Enjoy the convenience of 7 days a week banking and extended hours with Cube from First Arkansas Bank and Trust. Member FDIC. It's time for From the Short Grass with Trey Schaap, a golf podcast for those who love golf, struggle with golf, and just like to enjoy the outdoors and fellowship with friends, all while chasing a ball around trying to put it in a 4 1/4 inch diameter hole. From the Short Grass is brought to you by Stevens Incorporated, an independent financial services firm with the freedom to focus on what matters most. Blackman Auctions. For over 80 years, better auctions have always been Blackman Auctions. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels. We partner with you to deliver high-yield results by managing, developing, and investing in top-quality hospitality assets. And now, from the Short Grass, here is your host, Trey Schaap.
Welcome to another edition of From the Short Grass. I am your host, Trey Schaap. The President's Cup is here. The international team against the United States team. The international team, captained by Trevor Immelman, consists of Hideki Matsuyama, Sungjae Im, Tom Kim, Corey Connors, Mito Pereira, Adam Scott, Taylor Pendrith, Sebastian Munoz, Siwoo Kim, Cam Davis, K.H. Lee, and Christian Bezuidenhout. The United States team, captained by Davis Love III, features Patrick Cantlay, Sam Burns, Scotty Scheffler, Justin Thomas, Tony Finau, Xander Schauffele, Cameron Young, Billy Horschel, Kevin Kisner, Colin Morikawa, Max Homa, and Jordan Spieth. You can watch the President's Cup on NBC over the weekend. Quail Hollow Golf Club in Charlotte is the host of the President's Cup matches, and we will have a full recap of the President's Cup in our next episode. Blackman Auctions. Since 1938, better auctions have always been Blackman Auctions. Find them on the web at blackmanauctions.com, one of our great sponsors of From the Short Grass. We're back with our guest this week, Steve Sullivan. Stay with us.
Heading to El Dorado to check out some live music or to play Mystic Creek? Stay at the Haywood, the only boutique hotel in the middle of downtown and the Murphy Arts District. If you are spending a weekend in Hot Springs, make plans now at the Marriott Courtyard close to Lake Hamilton and Oaklawn. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotel Group manages both of these fine properties, and you will rest easy knowing that your every need is taken care of. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels on the web at bphotels.com.
This is Thomas Blackman with Blackman Auctions. The economy is changing slowly but surely. The market is slowing down in a gradual slide. Not an emergency yet, the sky is not falling, but a change is coming. When times are good, auctions make buyers compete to buy at the highest market value. When the economy gets tough, auctions force buyers to make a purchase decision. Either way, auctions get the highest return for a seller and a strong deal for a buyer. With an experienced auction company, it's a simple process. Go to blackmanauctions.com for more information. Since 1938, better auctions are Blackman Auctions.
Strength is measured not by the number of accounts. Strength is placing value on relationships. It's having the vision and the guts to invest in growth. It's the commitment to responsibly manage your money. At Stevens, we believe that our strengths build success, not only for us, but for our clients. Stevens, member NYSE, SIPC. Welcome back to From the Short Grass. Steve Sullivan, a longtime television personality, loves the game of golf, and by his own admission, he's not very good at it, but he's a great interview. You're going to love this. On the tee, Steve Sullivan. Steve Sullivan, thanks for joining me on From the Short Grass. Now, I know you are from Massachusetts.
That's right.
So you grew up there. When did you first pick up a golf club?
Well, first, it's nice to know you have bad golfers on, too.
You're not. Come on.
I'm not good.
Come on. You're not a bad golfer.
I am bad, but high school probably. My dad played, and so I played a little then, and been hooked ever since. Not any good, but I love the game.
So really, high school is when you first started playing?
Yes.
Is that just to, I guess, be involved with sports in high school?
I guess my dad played, and to do something, I played baseball and football, and so I didn't really golf. Really wasn't even an option growing up. I mean, that's something I didn't even think about. We had a public course sort of close to us, but never really thought about it till later in high school.
What was golf in Massachusetts like?
You have some really nice golf courses because the weather is great for golf.
Yeah.
I mean, you got some really nice courses, but it's a short season.
Right.
I mean, the rough is really bad at some of those courses. And but I played a small course up close to our house, and it was fairly tight. But all the courses, and one thing they had back then that I wish they had now was really fun. They had a lit up par 3 course where you just bring your wedge, and in the middle of our city. It's closed now. I don't know why, but it was so much fun. And it was more than just golf. It was, it wasn't top golf.
Yeah.
But it was a legitimate par 3 course. But it wasn't par 3. It was almost, it was par 3, but it was really short. It was like 100 yards, 90 yards, water.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really fun. And I really think that concept, could work anywhere.
I do too. Just, a couple of wedges and a putter. And that's all you need.
Yeah. And it was a lot of fun. I mean, that was probably my introduction to golf was that.
The Country Club, Brookline, host of this year's U.S. Open.
Yeah.
Matt Fitzpatrick won the amateur there and the U.S. Open there. How neat is that?
Yeah, and I remember my father he got to want to go there once, and he thought he was walking on the green when he was walking on the fairway.
Oh no,
it was so good, know. And I really enjoyed that. I mean, I love the majors, and I love the competition down the stretch. I didn't really like who won the tournament, but what a great deal for him.
How did you get to Arkansas?
Well, it's kind of a unique story because my parents came from Ireland. We didn't have much money for college, and when I was a junior in high school, I hooked up with a guy who was a assistant dog trainer. He was one of my best friends, and as a senior, he had a dog lost its muzzle and beat up one of the other dogs, and they were going to kill the dog, and it wasn't a very productive racer. And he said, "No, I'll take the dog." And he said, "No, you'll buy the dog." So for Keen Twister was her name, and we each spent $400 and bought a racing dog. So we had to find a
greyhound.
Yeah, real quickly we had to find a school and radio TV that was cheap, close to a racetrack, so we could bring Keen Twister down, and I could go to school for broadcasting, and he could go too to the same school.
And you found
Arkansas State, and it turned out to be the best decision I ever made. But it was really a culture shock. I didn't have my parents come around. I flew down, and you're in a foreign land, and you're in Jonesboro wasn't as developed back then, and it was scary at first till I met some people from South Arkansas, and we hooked up in intramurals, and that kind of saved my life really.
When did you know that you wanted to be involved in the broadcasting business?
Real early. I would even at home put a towel over the TV and do play-by-play. And I grew up listening to Johnny Most, who I think is one of the all-time greats as far as a homer, as a play-by-play guy, who I just revered Johnny Most. I was really, it was the most disappointing thing, and this happens in radio a lot, is you never see the person and you create this persona, and then you see him for the first time. And I saw him at a barbershop, and I was really disappointed. I said, "That's Johnny Most." It was late in his career. He looked really bad. But I realized I wasn't going to be a great athlete. So at that point, there was just that excitement of relaying the news, to even my family. And so at that point, I decided, I wanted to at least pursue sports broadcasting.
And you were hooked.
Yeah. Until I had my first broadcasting class at Arkansas State, there was a little red-haired guy, and he's deceased now, but Mark Ford, I think was his name, great guy. And I got in the announcing class, and he had a booming voice and was so good in all the buttons and everything, and I was like turning my mic off and on, and I think this isn't going to work. I found out that guy had worked like 5 years in radio already, so but it was great at Arkansas State, and I've been fortunate to get jobs, and that's a plus.
You said that you came down here, you flew down here, and it was like you were in a foreign land. How did you fit in with that northeastern accent?
Well, you learn real quick to try to talk like they talk. You drop your G's. It's running, it's fishing, and you don't go with fada or runna, and you
kind of like Brian Kelly at LSU.
Yeah, and you go, but you're not to that degree. But you're just trying to fit in, and you go. The only time I get in real trouble is when I go real fast.
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll just revert, and you'll just do it so quick that you forget you get that AH in there. But I've been here so long now that my daughters use fixin' too. So
you've taught them well. Did you play golf in college?
Not really, not at all. I mean, that was I did a lot of intramurals, a lot of different. That was pretty much my life was intramurals in college, and doing some like helping with the radio broadcasts and that kind of stuff. We do fake broadcasts at the games, and but not much. No golf in really college.
Where was your first TV job?
I was in Fort Smith, KHBS.
KHBS.
And I actually worked for radio. It's Channel 4029. I started out on radio, and then I went over there. They had a TV station too, and I went and worked TV there.
Okay. And then you moved down to Little Rock?
Way at Channel 4.
Yeah. I remember working with you at Channel 4.
That's right.
Back in the day.
Friday Night Flights.
Time ago. Yeah. Well, when did you come up with that concept, or was that
it was
already
Bob
there
Steele.
before
No,
you?
they just started that. Yeah. And I'm fortunate to Bob Steele has hired me at both stations and was fired at both stations. I thought he was a great news director, but and I still do. But it was a concept he came up with, and we were over at Channel 4, and the reality is you're not going to compete with Polio's and the Razorbacks. I mean, that's it. I mean,
right.
Channel 7's the Razorback station, so you better find a niche and do something really well. And we decided to really go all in on high school football. And we decided to fly the helicopter, and I had photographers that were young like yourself we had Leonard Chambly, who was
he wasn't very young at the time. Leonard was. He was big, and he could handle the
about
camera.
300 pounds in that helicopter hanging out.
Yeah.
And he embraced it, and that was the real fun of early Friday night flights, was that everyone was as invested as me. They wanted to get the big play, and we had great photographers, and it was so much fun. And that was a time before Twitter.
Right.
When they saw Shabazz for the first time on Channel 4, Channel 7.
Right.
And it was really fun for me because high school football is not huge in Massachusetts. They play on Saturday afternoons, and here it's just another world. And I got a taste of that when I did Fort Smith Northside play-by-play and Fort Smith Southside. Just the Friday nights were so much fun, especially at Channel 4. And they've been fun at Channel 7. But Channel 4, when we first started with that helicopter, and Leonard would break all kinds of rules. He'd be landing at fast food places, McDonald's and Clarksville, and when he wasn't supposed to, people be reporting your helicopter is.
Let's clarify that. Leonard was not flying. We had Sandy Williams.
Yes.
One of the great pilots.
Yes.
I remember there were some times where, we'd go and we'd put the lights out because you'd have to have landing lights for the games that you come back to because you couldn't see. And so we would leave early enough, and most of the time we'd go somewhere and we'd eat before we started our trip.
Yeah, and those pilots were heavily invested, and I can't think of just a Friday where we had events, anything happen that caused a delay. We always got the video back, and that's amazing when you do it for as many years.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'd fly, when it was snowing, they go by just or not snowing, I just missed foggy. They'd go by just the lights.
Yeah.
And sometimes they found a field we didn't anticipate we were going to. One time we went to Dollarway at halftime, and Lee Hardman said the kickoff in the wash of the helicopter blew the ball back to them. He said our kicker wasn't very good. He said, but that ball went up and it came back. He said, and that was a big thrill when you saw that helicopter arrive. You knew it was a big deal.
How soon did you meet Barry Brandt at Channel 4? Because you guys would play golf every
That's
day.
Right. We didn't play every day. We played
when
a lot.
you could.
Here's the story about Barry, too. I remember, my memory's not probably that great, but I don't think he was that much better than me when we started, and we played at Rebsamen. And then he got married, and he moved to Pleasant Valley, and Barry is light years better than me now. And I think it's part of that country club forces you to play better.
Yeah.
And if he didn't play better, he wasn't going to get to play in any of those member guests and everything like that. And
well, why didn't you join the country club?
Well, I didn't have the money, so nor did I have the games. So it was like it was.
Did you two play for anything?
Oh yeah, we'd play like teams, and we were highly competitive, and that was great times too. I remember one time Barry told me it was pouring at my house, and he said, "Hey, come on down, it's fine here." And I got there, it was pouring there. So, but Barry's been great, and Barry had the greatest save for me in Friday night flights. We had a kid from Pine Bluff return 2 kicks for touchdowns in the first half, and his name was spelled, the first name, Dedetron. And I knew it wasn't Dedetron. And Barry came up with the idea, let's call him the D-Train. And we never once even thought of pronouncing his name. It was the D-Train. And I credit Barry Brandt Barry's smarter than me, so he came up with that.
Well, you've come up with some good names.
Yeah, well, that's some fun names.
How did you start doing that?
Well, it was the Great Shabazz was the first one, and then Madre Hill said he wanted a nickname, and then if a guy was consistently doing well and he had a name like Philip Bread and Butterfield, just fun. Philip Butterfield from Lake Hamilton, and then people would get in on it. Like Jason Peterson had one. Larry Walls I think he was somewhere in Pine Bluff. Larry Great Walls of Fire.
Yeah,
and it was and you come up with these names and it's just having fun, and it's making something special out of a highlight, and you never know when it'll stick. But the guy's got to be good every week. You just can't name a guy, and you come up with some that are. I was thinking when I named the kid over at Pulaski Academy, the little guy, I named him the Pocket Rocket, and I was thinking like Andre Richard, the hockey player. I wasn't thinking any other way, but the news team, when they heard the Pocket Rocket, just couldn't.
Said you can't use that one.
No, we did. We continued to use it though. The kid embraced it. He was good with the nickname, so It was all right.
You and Barry, though, kind of ironic. You were both at Channel 4, and you were playing golf in the mornings, and then you'd go work in the evenings. But you both wound up at Channel 7.
Yeah, and Barry went first, although they shipped him off to Florida to work there. And then I followed him over, and in reality, I didn't make any more money going from Channel 4 to Channel 7, but it was the opportunity to go to the Razorback station and work with Paul Eels.
Yeah.
You see people on TV that they're not always as they appear on TV when you meet them off the air. And Paul was nicer, and I caught him on the back end of his career, and the highlight of my broadcasting career were the 6 or 7 years I spent with Paul. And he was just so different than anyone I've ever worked with, and I don't think he ever looked back at a tape. And he would interview people, and he would go forever. It's not that he was looking for something; it was when they were done, and then he would sit and talk to them. And I can't tell you how many deadlines I feared he would miss. And he always got back in time. And
he never missed a one, did he?
No, and he never ever, there are mistakes in TV. I remember one time a guy left the booth while Paul was doing a live shot in Fayetteville and didn't press the button to roll the tape. So Paul sat in front of the camera for like 40 seconds before he rolled the tape. And, a guy would have been livid, and Paul just washed it away and went on to the next show. And just what a great man. And, you think about him a lot when certain events come up. And, you can't be play-by-play guy forever, but he did end on a good note, because it was Houston Nutt was there and they were doing well, and bang,
How many times did you and him play golf?
We played a lot, and Paul had a knack. Some guys have the knack. He wasn't a great golfer. He was better than me, but Paul had the knack in tournaments, like to hit putts. And just come up with a special shot. And part of it is I don't think Paul ever had a nervous bone in his body. Just, he didn't worry about bad shots. And I get scared to death sometimes playing in front of people. I was playing with Nancy Lopez in her foursome at Pleasant Valley, and on the last hole, people were lined up. I hooked a low liner off someone's golf cart.
Oh, no.
About quit golf then. But she was very nice, and that was years ago, and but the memory still sticks with me.
Friday Night Flights and Sully's Little Heroes, another thing that you have kind of come up with.
And I haven't done as much lately, and I regret. And I'll get back out during basketball season because here's the thing: everybody has kids, and most everyone has played youth sports, and you can relate to them rather than a pro athlete. And generally, when you shoot kids, something unusual is going to happen. Or you might run into this phenom, and see a guy like a DJ Williams when he's playing in 6 or 7 years, which we did. And it's been fun when you have someone that you meet later that said, yeah, I was on your show. I probably don't remember you, but you were on the show then, and it was big to them. And that's a lot of fun, just showing up at a random kids game and shooting it.
Your Father's Day putt-putt golf. Yeah. How did that come about?
Well, my favorite place. Everybody has their place where they look to get away.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it's a recliner, some of it's a backyard. Mine's Golf World. Just hit balls, and I would hit balls out there. And I came up with a father. I wanted to do a father-child tournament, and they were so good. And we kind of took a break or ended it because we've done it for like 25 years. And they did it all, and they are the greatest people. They could leave. I don't think they make much money out there, but they realize that's a landmark.
Mm-hmm.
That golf ball out there.
It's been flooded before,
yeah,
and it still comes
yeah,
back.
They've been robbed, and
Yeah.
I mean they keep Patrick and Tommy. They're great guys, and they went all out. We would give away like $1,600 or $1,700 in prize money. What we found out, though, is that people even cheat at the father-child tournament.
Oh, my God.
That's something about golf.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah. People cheat at any level. The one thing in my job is you meet some great people.
Mm-hmm.
And the people at Golf World have been so good to me over the years. And right now at 63, I feel like I'm playing my best golf because I'm not hitting it as far right and left. I'm hitting it pretty much straight. And that's maybe a function of being 63, but I don't care as much. But even the driving range, I'm hitting mostly good shots. And the great news is the station is moving right down the road from you guys.
Yeah.
Which is close to Repsamen.
Right.
And you got to have your priorities right. So I can come in at 11 o'clock, play 9 holes, and do that 3 or 4 times a week, and I'm bound to get better.
You're going to get better, Sully. There's no question about it. You're a guy that can't sit still. I probably should have brought a seatbelt in here for this interview, but you have to get your steps in. How are you able to play golf and be patient with it?
Yeah.
It's a game that takes a little bit of patience.
Yeah, but
does it not?
A lot of groups, you guys you play with play fast.
Okay.
And the most frustrating thing about golf is hit a bad shot and not to get to hit it again right away. You have to wait. And that's something that I don't like slow golf. And that's one thing about golf. If I had a complaint is some of these tournaments, it's about camaraderie and hanging out, but some of them go so slow.
Mm-hmm. Who's a golfer that when they're on TV you have to stop?
Oh,
and
it would be
watch?
Tiger Woods, and that would be and now Zalatoris, for the Simmons Bank. If you have any tie to a guy, like I don't know the guy, I think Kyle did a story on him, but he's a Simmons Bank guy. And I know the guy's a Simmons Bank, and then you get connected to his story, so you follow him. And that's the thing about golf. You follow individuals more than you follow just the game. And that's why I like those guys. I like Tiger Woods because he transcended the game. And when you had Mickelson and you had Woods and you had, Greg Norman and now I was looking at Scheffler a little because he was dominating and I wanted to see how good he was. But the great thing about golf now is the parity. This guy can be cruising along and then bang.
Yeah.
He can go through a rough time.
He can. just like us amateurs.
Yeah, that makes you appreciate Tiger Woods and in the run he had.
How good he was.
Yes, and how elite he was, and that's why he's Tiger Woods. Because golf's not easy.
Do you like playing in scrambles as like a celebrity where they put you with 4 others?
Well, yes and no. I like playing with people I know because they know I'm bad. I've had some bad experiences. I've played so poorly, and like Johnny Rice is like the best amateur athlete, the North Little Rock coach out there.
Yeah,
he had a great team, and I was on that team, and I was horrible that day, and I was just terrible. I didn't even want to hit the ball. I'd kind of rather play with 4 guys I know.
Yeah,
and not be just horrible, but okay. But you don't want to play in one of those tournaments if you're not playing well. Best
golf course you've ever played?
Best golf course I've ever played. I'm trying to think because I haven't played at a lot of, probably just Chenal. Just out there and in Pleasant Valley. I like those courses, and I played down in Hot Springs some, and but that's about it. I've had a chance to play some of these tournaments like in Tulsa when they've had the Pro Media Day, and I've passed those.
Like
up.
Southern Hills.
Yeah.
Alotion.
Yeah.
Have you gotten out there?
I had a chance to play, but I didn't play there.
Why not?
Because I was playing so poorly. I think if you even have a caddy there, I'd be so bad.
Well, the caddy might help you.
Yeah. Or spread the word. This guy's just horrible.
Oh, no. Come on now.
Yeah.
All right, Sully. Fantasy foursome. 3 other players, living or deceased, you would like to play around
Paul
with.
Definitely. Nolan Richardson, because he'd be the A golfer.
Yeah.
He's one of the great stories of golf. Why should he be a good golfer?
He's good.
Yeah, and that's something and that's just amazing about Nolan. But Nolan, definitely my dad, and Paul Eels.
What a great foursome!
Yeah, that's good. And Paul was such a good guy to everyone, and so was Nolan. And that's I'm a huge Nolan Richardson fan, and that's And I find it just amazing that he's that good at golf, too.
Would Paul give you putts?
Paul would give whatever you want to do. Paul would go along with it. If you want to play Tommy golf, Paul would go along with it.
Wow.
That's Paul Eels.
Yeah.
I mean, and he genuinely roots for the other guy, too. I mean.
His last day on this earth, he played golf.
Yeah, he did. And he was around the Razorbacks. So if you think in that way, it was a good day for Paul. And it ended so horrifically that another life was lost. Right. And I'm thinking if he had lived through it and she had died, he would have been a different man the rest of his life. And I had talked to him on the way home, so I knew he was doing fine. So I got to believe something happened medically because he had made that trip thousands of times, just thousands of times. Yeah. And, I thought Harry King would kill him because they 100 degrees and they'd be playing 36 holes. I'm saying, my God, Harry's trying to kill you. I said, he survived Harry King. He should survive everything. I feel for Harry King because he used to play so much with Paul. What's his life been like? Time. What's his golf life been like since Paul, has been gone? Yeah,
and the story that Harry King told me when he was on an episode of From the Shortgrass of the time that he lost his wedding ring.
Yeah.
And who was down at Rebsman looking for it? Paul Eels.
Yeah.
Just some of those great stories.
That's Paul.
Yeah, and, that is. Well, Sully, thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Good to have you on.
You had a great show.
Thank you.
I struggle to find it, so I find the promos more than I find the show.
Well, I can help you. Go to your Apple phone and download Apple Podcasts, and
Tony
you can
Romo
find it.
on one show.
Yeah.
How'd you get him?
Went out to Vegas.
Well, what a deal.
My thanks to Steve Sullivan for coming into the studios of the Buzz Radio Network and not asking me to fly to Vegas to interview him, although it would have been a fun trip. We could have done it, maybe play some golf out there as well. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels, one of our great sponsors of From the Shortgrass, hotel locations that they manage all across the Mid-South. Find all of their locations on their website, bphotels.com. We're back to wrap it up after this. Stay with us.
When your travels take you to Bentonville for a meeting with Walmart, a trip to Crystal Bridges, or the Walmart Amp for a concert, make sure you book your stay at one of the top Beechwood Pinnacle Hotel Group properties. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotel Group manages the Doubletree Suites, an all-suite hotel with tons of meeting space, and the Hilton Garden Inn, which has been newly remodeled rooms throughout the entire property. The best place to stay in Northwest Arkansas is a Beechwood Pinnacle Hotel Group property. Visit them on the web at bphotels.com.
This is Thomas Blackman of Blackman Auctions. You all know by now I'm not a good golfer, but my son loves the game and he and I have been playing more. I've got my score down to, I've quit playing a scramble on every hole. I'm using the bunker rake much less than I used to, and a lot of the time I hit my drives past the women's tee box. All of my success in golf can directly be tied to me listening to From the Shortgrass. Without it, I would not be the golfer I am today. Trey, you owe me $20 for that. Trey knows golf, I know auctions. Come see us at BlackmanAuctions.com. Since 1938, better auctions are Blackman Auctions.
At Stevens, our philosophy is to invest every dollar as if it were our own, to seize opportunity, to anticipate rather than react, to deliver constant focus in an ever-changing world, and to pursue the objectives of our clients in order to help them reach their financial goals. A proven history of helping companies and individuals. Stevens, member NYSE SIPC. That will do it for this edition of From the Shortgrass. Again, I want to thank Steve Sullivan for taking time out of his busy schedule to stop by and sit down for our little chat, if you will. The Arkansas State Golf Association, congratulations to the latest class of the Arkansas State Golf Association Hall of Fame. It includes Lee Brunn, longtime Jonesboro Country Club head professional, Trey Rutledge, longtime Hot Springs Country Club superintendent, Pam Spikes, an 8-time AWGA champion, Dot Germain, an accomplished amateur, collegiate, and LPGA player in her time, and the late Dan Murphy, who was raised in Texarkana, served on the PGA National Board, and served as a rules official for 3 times during the PGA Championship and 2 times as a Ryder Cup rules official. I also want to leave you with this funny golf quote from the late Seve Ballesteros. He said, "The only time I talk on the golf course is to my caddy, and then only to complain when he has given me the wrong club." As always, when you find a ball mark on the green, fix it and a couple of more. And I hope to see you sometime soon from the short grass.
You've been listening to From the Short Grass, a weekly podcast dedicated to the game of golf. This has been a presentation of the Buzz Radio Network.